I still personally think there's a massive stigma with bipolar and schizophrenia. The reason why I know is because I've had people, when I posted something on LinkedIn or Facebook, DM me out the blue, and I had no idea they had a similar situation to me growing up with a single parent with mental illness or schizophrenia. And they're telling me stuff. I'm like, God, I know exactly what you're going through, but you never hear about it.
No.
And there's a lot of people who are 50 or 60 years old now who had parents with that, and back in the day it was sort of hush-hush under the rug, right? So, who are only positioned to speak out and actually use some of their, let's say they've got money or voice to do something about it. So, but they don't, because I still think there's a bit of embarrassment about it or stigma about it. Because when you grow up with a parent with that situation, you're always told, don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
You know? So you go to school and you might act out at school, and and you get in trouble and you're getting treated like, because the school can only take you, or people can only take you for what you present, right? You don't wear your life resume on your sleeve, right? So people can only take you for what you are. So as a young person in those formative years, you do have a lot of issues growing up in that situation, a lot of things, and you do act out in a way because it's still not, there's not much awareness around it. So for me, as you said, I think the majority of mental health awareness is associated, or just people just know it as depression and anxiety, which is very serious, and I'm not trying to trivialise it or make light of it in a way. But I think all the resources, like it's the awareness campaign around depression and anxiety has been great, and it's done its job. But I agree, it needs to start shifting into these other areas of social issues with kids who have parents with that, or bipolar and schizophrenia, and start not normalising it, but raising awareness to those pockets of mental illness which definitely don't have any conversation that I think that's tangible really in the public. And you can just do a quick YouTube search for the amount of content online, or even Google about this sort of space, and there's hardly anything.
No, it's nothing.
And it's really frustrating for me, because if the person obviously who has the illness, obviously they are the priority, and that's how it's treated. But for me, if that person is responsible for other people's lives, the people who they're responsible for should be the priority, which is never the case for what me and my younger sister were growing up. We're always left in the lurch and whatever else, and then you get put back in our home with someone who's got a pretty severe mental illness, right? So from a point of view in regards to negligence or just to a dangerous environment, that always hangs over your head and causes you a lot of stress, and it does shape who you are. It does affect you, who you are moving forward. So that's from my issue regarding the bipolar. So that's why I'm passionate about getting this sort of stuff, and just sort of saying, yes, there's a large amount of people who function in society or who don't with bipolar and schizophrenia. There's things like electric shock treatment, which is still going, which you don't know about. The psychiatric wards, locked wards, they're not a nice place to go.
Yeah.
So I almost sort of think that the depression and anxiety, it seems to be everyone now just posts on social media about depression and anxiety, and that's it, right? It just seems to be that way. Whereas for me, my cynicism kicks in and sort of says, well, if you think you're depressed, I'll take you out. Let's go to a psychiatric ward. Let's put you in overnight and give you a bout of ECT, and let's see. That's just my cynicism coming into it, because of the lack of awareness around these other issues, and they have a massive social impact on people, because if someone with bipolar schizophrenia, obviously it's a massive amount of resources, and they should get that, but it's the people around them as well, and they get no help. And that's the big frustration I have, is that children or parents, what's the support for them? If they wanted to go talk to someone, this is what I had to do. So this is my personal experience. So I never really talked to anyone about my mum's issues until I was 28, which is far too late and stupid. But to get that help, or to talk to someone about it, I had to go and pretend to the doctor that I had depression or anxiety, so I could get those 6 sessions
to see
from
the
Medicare.
psychologist. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just it shouldn't be that way. It should be a free thing. And my cynicism and anger from it was basically as a government, you didn't do nothing for me as a young person, really. You've done nothing. So it's just now when I need a little bit of help, maybe I should have it should be, you want it to be there. But there's nothing really for the families and that. And we've got a large amount of people who have children with serious issues, or could be you have a parent with a serious issue, right? But for that person itself or the family, where's their support network for someone, but they also need their own support network or something in place, which there's nothing around. There's nothing they can go to. There's nothing they can really look up online. There might be some groups and some smaller organisations, which they are, who do try and do something about it. But for me, those large organisations who have built that massive brand, they are brands.
Yeah, they're brands.
They're brands. Beyond Blue and that, they have nothing on their websites about it. They don't donate. They don't spread any of the money to these other ones like that, And for me, that's the very, very frustrating thing, which is why I appreciate you talking about this so openly, because it's not an easy thing. I do think there's a little undercurrent of lack of understanding of what bipolar schizophrenia is for someone who's not experienced with it.
Yeah.
There's a massive, I think if someone's not experienced with depression or anxiety now, they sort of got an idea about it. But with the more serious conditions, bipolar and schizophrenia, I don't think someone, unless they've experienced or got a family with it, they've got no idea. And what goes with that sort of stuff. Because it's a lifelong thing. It's something you can't cure.
Yeah.
It's a managed condition.
Yeah.
And it's a very serious condition, especially in times when the person's not feeling their best.